I've been marked by your presence. This one thing I won't forget. Oh, how mercy met dirty the day my life was spared. And I've been held by those nailed hands through the lowest of nights. And I'm no longer a dead man. Now I walk in the light. So testify if God still provides. Tell the truth if He's been good to you. Raise a shout if He brought you out. Everything with breath, sing praises. How could we ever be silent? And there was never a moment when you left me alone. No. And there's no place I'll be going where I'll be left on my own. Hey, now I'm alive to tell the story. Hey, how this love is overcome.
We like to say good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Hang Out with Bishop. We're so happy to be here today on our podcast, Hanging Out with the Bishop. Thank God for our life, health, and our strength. Thank Him for blessing me and my First Lady, allowing us to see another year, our anniversary. We went down to Georgia and spent some time with my sister. Enjoyed the time that we had down there together, and just got away and had a real good time. And God has blessed us to be together for another year, and she's my best friend. And I think if you keep each other as best friends, I think you and God in the midst of it, and you'll be together until death do you part. You can go through all kind of problems, disagreements, and still God is the glue that holds the friendship and the love and the family together. Well, tonight we gonna talk a little bit about little foxes destroys the vines, and thank God kind of go along with what the elder was talking about Sunday about our flaws, because see, the little foxes is the same thing as your flaws. And what makes them so dangerous and so deadly, we look at them as being something small. And as we're reading about the little foxes destroys the vines, you think about how the vines grow and they produce fruit. And them little foxes is trying to get to your fruit. And while they trying to get to your fruit, they pulling down your vines to get to your fruit. And that's the way the enemy, that's the way the enemy does. And see, a lot of times, it's the small things that we allow to linger in our lives that what brings you down. The little small things what brings you down. And like I said, the little foxes is trying to get to your fruit, and your fruit. Christ is the vine, and He produces. He wants us to bring forth much fruit, and the fruit is of the Spirit, not of the flesh. And so we talk about those little foxes, and I was listening to some preachers Sunday, and they was kind of wondering what was happening to the church. Talking, like a lot of people not coming to church, and and when it all boils down to is that it's the little things that's messing with people. It's the little things that's hindering them, that they're not able to shake. We realize that God, He's a deliverer, and He can deliver people from anything that they allow Him to. And also, it comes with fasting and praying. A lot of times, people don't want to fast, they don't want to pray, but those are the two greatest tools that God has given us for the enemy. And I heard some people, talking about the way things are now. There's a lot of churches that don't have Sunday school anymore. A lot of churches don't have Bible study during the week. And what have happened is that they have allowed the little foxes, the weak of the body, to dictate on a lot of things of what's going on. But we can't allow the weak to run things, because they're running in the ground. The Lord let us know that if you don't have but 2 or 3 people come out, God said He's in the midst. If you got 2 or 3 people in Sunday school, you need to have Sunday school. If you got 2 or 3 people in Bible study, you need to come. You don't let the majority of the people dictate what God can do. God never gloried in a army. He always gloried in the faithful few. And what happened, a lot of pastors have catered to the weak. Now, you go to Romans 15:1, it lets us know that we then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak and not to please ourselves. Now, when you talk about bearing, it could be a physical or emotional weakness that they have. Could be some kind of sickness, some kind of emotional problem. They could have family problems. It could be money problems, marriage problems, home problems, children problems. I mean, it could be on and on. These are problems, and that we call the little foxes that is destroying the vines, that's taking the life out of the people, and there's also spiritual weakness. And notice I'm gonna show you how we can bear these things with them. There's a spiritual weakness. There's a sexual sin, drunkenness, drugs, bad attitude, murder, unconfessed sin, watching dirty movies. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be in people's life that's really taking their joy and their peace from them, and that's what the little foxes does when they climb up there and they try to grab that fruit. They tie the branches down, and what that does is taking the life out of people. You got to get rid of those little foxes. Same way, like Elder said, them flaws, you got to get rid of them. Once you acknowledge them, once you acknowledge your flaws, then you need to go to the Lord and seek God's face to get rid of the little foxes. Because if you don't, they're going to, eventually, if you let the little foxes hang around, eventually you're not going to have no fruit, and they're going to damage your vines. You're not ever going to get no fruit. And without that fruit, you're stagnant. I mean, you think about it. Without the fruits of the Spirit, I mean, there's no life, And then they asked, they said it was COVID. It was COVID that brought the problem, into the church. No, this was going on before COVID. This was going on before COVID, But like I said, you don't let the weak dictate you. You're supposed to help the strong. Supposed to help the weak, And it was letting us know by bearing the weak through their wickedness. We got to help pray with them and pray for them. Not only that, we need to teach them spiritual ways and how to become strong. See, that's bearing with them. You teaching them not be weak, but how to be strong. And by helping them see their weakness. That means you call it what it is. If it's an apple, it's an apple. If it's something weak, it's weak, And you got to, how you help bear that with them, you call it out. The strong supposed to help bear the infirmities of the weak. And you let them know that and not only letting them know that that's weak, but showing them a better way. See, now you can't make them follow a better way, but you can show them a better way to at least to have more strength, And the strong are to help the weak through their weakness, through their weakness. That's what we got to do. We got to help them, and that the strong need to get back in taking over the church, the strong, and the pastor need to quit dictating to the weak. Stop letting the weak call the plays. Amen. If they don't want to come to Bible study, you still have Bible study because the strong gonna be there. The strong gonna be there because they've learned the strong have destroyed the little foxes. The little foxes that eats on you and steal all your joy. The strong have learned how to overcome and destroy them little foxes so they won't steal their fruit. So you got to get back. If it ain't but a handful, you don't come up short with God because of the majority don't want it. See, and getting everything running back like it's supposed to. You got weak people, they'll complain about holding too long, but they'll go to a ball game and sit for an hour or two. Don't let it be no overtime. See, you can't cater to the weak ones, because the reason why they're weak is because they have allowed those foxes to destroy their vines and eat their fruit. And they can't gain no strength because they can't bear no fruit. They got to get rid of the foxes. About like a tick on a dog. If you let enough ticks stay on that dog long enough, then they won't only suck his blood out, but they'll give him tick poison. They'll give him tick poison, and he be so weak he won't be able to walk. And see, our walk is in the Lord, and what is happening, it ain't the strong, but you got the weak. They barely can walk in the Lord, and they wonder what's hindering them. What's hindering them? I mean, they wonder what's hindering them. And a lot of times it's guilt. Shame. That guilt and shame will keep you from really exercising your gift in the Lord and walking in the Lord with boldness, not being ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, but witnessing everywhere you go, but see, when you got guilt and you got shame, you got shame and guilt. It will hinder you, and not only that, it have you. A lot of times it'll have you where you feel worthless, and that's where the little foxes have gotten people right now. A lot of them feels worthless. They feel worthless. And not being loved. They looking for love in all the wrong places. Trying to find love in everybody around them instead of the true love that comes from God. Because when you get the true love that comes from God, then that's enough. That's enough love. That genuine love, because that love is unconditional. There's no strings tied to it. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening. Them little foxes have them pulled down them vines and interrupted the people's fruit from growing, and they feel like the pastor bishop don't love them, the pastor don't love. They feel like that's a feeling that they have received, from them foxes, and just a unwanted feeling, unwanted feeling. See, that's just a deceiving spirit, and then they realize, then they say to themselves, God won't forgive me. God won't forgive me. Church people won't forgive me. And not only that, God's got a chastising hand, but that's what happens a lot of times when those little foxes attacks them vines. Because, like I said, if the foxes, that's the little foxes in your life. Everybody got to recognize and realize the little foxes in their own life. Little foxes in their own life. Everybody has their own foxes. Like Elder said, their flaws. Everybody has their own foxes. And you can't allow those foxes to destroy the vine that gives life to the fruit that we're supposed to bear. And it gets people to where when it comes to God, they don't participate much in Him like they used to. They find other pleasures in the world, working more. They find other pleasure, than finding the real sources that's in God. Because everything you do for God, that shows your growth and your matureness is your work in Him. You know what I mean? And like I said, that Sunday mornings the doors ought to be open early, and Wednesday night no church. If you don't have it on Wednesday, you can have it on Tuesday. But no church the doors should not be closed. Should not be closed midweek service midweek. The doors should be open. And like I said, if ain't but 2 or 3, God said, I'm in the midst. See, we forget about God, and we start looking at people, and we start looking at numbers. It's like we're trying to have a business. More numbers, the more numbers we have, the more prosperous they'll be. But that's not, God never had it that way. God's way has never been that way. It's not in numbers, It's the weak saying I'm strong, and learning to be strong, and stop being weak. Stop falling down the same hill. Don't allow to be tricked and bewitched again. Overcome your weakness. Learn to overcome your weakness. If it's a temper, or if it's jealousy, you got to go to God and let God work on it, and let God deliver you from it, from that weakness, so that you'll be strong, because that weakness will hinder you. It will hinder you. Your joy will not be at the level that God requires. Only certain things will make you happy. You know, instead of you able to think yourself happy, when you think on the goodness of Jesus and what he done for you, when you think on him and what he done for you, and you get happy, you know, those little weakness will drain you of that. And the church is going to have to realize they're going to have to get back to trying to see. The enemy wants people to think, oh, you arrogant and you headstrong. No. That's what the enemy wants you. That's what the enemy wants you to be. He wants you to be weak and timid in the Lord, and how he can have you to stay like that is those little foxes. You know what I mean? That means that you get comfortable living that kind of way, that kind of weakness. You learn to accept the weakness. You learn to accept it and live with it. And it's not going to do nothing but make things worse. It's going to drive you farther and farther away from God. That's as simple as that, you know. And a lot of times all people's getting emotional high is the music, you know, the organ and the singing. They getting a little emotional high, but that high ain't gonna last. You need the real high. You need to get the real high from the Lord. The real high. You know, it stays there. You can keep it. You can keep that high, but you got to learn to be strong. And like I said, get rid of all them little foxes. Stop allowing them to be in your life. You know, once you find one, take him out. You find another, take him out. You keep working on yourself. Keep working. Keep going to God. Keep getting delivered. Don't get satisfied and don't get comfortable. When another one pop up, go to God. Let God squash him. Let God squash that little fox so that he can stop stealing your joy, and you'll feel like you want it, and you'll feel like that God loves you and that people loves you. You'll be able to see that genuine love, and you won't walk around here paranoid every time somebody try to do something good for you. You think that there's an external motive, some kind of string tied to it. Because you got to learn to experience pure love, real, genuine love. And God's got some people. He got some people on this earth that has his love. And a lot of times they be trying to show you love, and you get a little paranoid. You think something's up. Because you really haven't never experienced the real love of God. When you really experience the real love of God, you can see the love in people. Oh, you have discernment. Also, you can see the phony, but you're not focusing on the phoniness and the weakness. You focus on the strong ones, the ones that's walking in the Lord in the fullness of his might. You know, you focus on the strong, because the strong they getting rid of them foxes as soon as they pop up. Bam, they getting rid of them. Bam, they're not giving them little foxes time to keep coming back and tearing up some more stuff. Coming back and tearing up some more stuff, you know, because what'll happen, eventually they will destroy you. So you're learning to get them little foxes away. As soon as one come up, I'm talking about come up in your life. Once one pop up in your life and you recognize it, you go to God, and you ain't satisfied until it's gone, and you working to get rid of that thing. And God will do the rest, you know. God will do the rest, but you gotta confess that thing. You got to confess it. Simple as that, you know. But little foxes, look out for them little foxes. Don't be content with them. And like I said, you don't have to walk around here feeling like you're not wanted, you know, or walk around here and feel like you don't fit in, or walk around and feel like nobody care about you. That's weakness. That's weak. All that comes from weak stuff. That don't come from the strength of the Lord. You know, you listen to Joshua and Caleb when Moses told Joshua, be strong. He told him to be strong. And what did Caleb and them come back from the land? They said, yeah, we can take them. They may be bigger than us, but see, they didn't allow the foxes in their life to start working on them. They didn't allow that. They didn't work out of, you can't work out of fear. You got to work out of faith, not fear, faith. See, a lot of people wants to work out of fear, but you got to work out of faith. Everything you do got to be through faith. And you can't allow fear to hitchhike you, hijack you. You can't let fear hijack you, and it will control you. Fear will have you, and that comes from a little fox. A little fox's fear. It'll have you where you're afraid to really step out there in God. You're afraid to step out there in God. You think you'll mess up. You think no. That fear puts that there, But faith is that you believe that God's gonna help you do it, and it's gonna get done, and because of the Lord, and He's gonna lead you, and He's gonna guide you, and He's gonna direct your path. He's gonna lead you in all the way you should go, and you're gonna trust Him. As long as He's leading you, you will not fail. Just simple that you will not fail. The only way you're gonna fall is you take your eyes off the Lord, and you begin to allow fear to conquer you. That's the only way. Because faith will keep you. Faith will keep you. And it lets us know that, see, a burden is, it comes from sin a lot of times. It comes from sin a lot of times, a burden, and that's our burden, what burden us down. What makes us feel like that we don't even want to go to church. We don't even want to be around Christians. We don't. Where you think that's coming from? It ain't coming from God. It's not coming from God. Because God told us to come together as often as we can. Yeah, we need a fellowship with one another. We the church. I ain't talking about no building. I'm talking about people. We should come we should come among one another as often as we can, and strengthen one another, especially with our testimonies. What God has done all week long. Share your testimony with one another. Not wanting people to feel sorry for you and see who can tell the saddest story, or who can tell who got the most hurt by somebody, but you give the testimony. When you see one another, you should give a testimony of what the Lord has done. Strong bears the infirmities of the weak, and let the weak say, I am strong. Let the weak say, I'm strong. See, and that's the problem. That's the problem. You got so many people going down the weak trail. They choose to be weak. They choose to be weak. Because God can make you strong. In your weakness, He can make you strong. He can make you strong. That means that whenever something come up against you, or whatever storm you in, or what's happening in your life, God can make you strong. He can make you strong. You ain't gonna be running like running with your tail between your legs every time something come up. You running away from it. Nah, you run towards it. You run towards it, and not only towards it, you run through it with the help of God. You run through the problem. You don't sit there and complain and whine and complain, and but you just run through it and have the victory. And then have a testimony. Well, we're gonna stop there. We feel like we done said enough to help you. And like I said, don't let the little foxes destroy your vines. Don't let them destroy your vines. Oh no, don't let them destroy your vines. Because if they destroy your vines, you will not have no fruit. And you cannot make it without the fruit. You got to have the fruit. You got to have the fruit. We like to say tomorrow we have announcements. Remember, tomorrow Bible study Wednesday night at People's Tabernacle. Elder Jones and Co-Pastor Jones will be doing their the last of the month Bible study. That'll be this Wednesday coming at 6 o'clock at People's Tabernacle. And then remember Friday night, To God to Be Glory Ministry. Let's Talk. Elder Jones and them will be on, and I believe they'll be going to talk about the fruits, I think it's the 8 fruits of the Spirit. They'll be doing the 8 fruits of the Spirit. And remember, Saturday, the Tabernacle will be doing our breakfast again. We thank God for the altar for doing the breakfast while we was out of town. The youth did the breakfast, and everybody's talking about, they had new people coming and a lot of people coming. I've been seeing new faces every Saturday. So tell everybody that if you get hungry, 412 Collect Place in Lenore, North Carolina. And also the Minister Alliance will be having our meeting this Saturday at 9 o'clock, People's Tabernacle. We'll have a meeting down there for the Minister Alliance. And we ask all the ministers to come. If you can't come, send with your associates, And I thank God for the Thanksgiving dinner sponsored by the Minister Alliance. It went real well, went real good. Everybody had a good time and everybody ate good. And also, we will be standing on the wall Sunday morning at 11 o'clock at People's Tabernacle. And also that evening at 4 o'clock, they'll be having their first service for the community at the altar at 4 o'clock. And they're going to have different speakers, they're going to have some drawings for some prizes and different speakers. And that's going to be at 4 o'clock down here near the Family Dollar Shopping Center. So come on down at 4 o'clock Sunday and help support the altar. And we just thank God for you this afternoon and looking forward to being back with you next Tuesday. Hang out with Bishop. It'll be Minister Ferguson, Zachary Ferguson. He'll be on next Tuesday. So keep that in mind, and let's continue on being strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. And don't let them little foxes destroy them vines. God bless you.
Oh, how mercy met dirty the day my life was spared. And I've been held by those nailed hands through the lowest of nights.